Hi everyone, welcome back to Paws to Read. Happy New Year! I'm Emily and today we're going to be reading HideAway Husky, written by Lisa McCue. Siberian Husky dogs love to play in the snow and are even better at pulling sleds. Today we're going to be reading about a Siberian Husky puppy that's named Paw, and he really wants to pull sleds just like the adult dogs do. So why don't we all pull up a chair and get ready to read about Paw's adventures. Paw was a little hideaway husky. He lived in Alaska on a husky ranch with a family who trained some of the biggest, fastest, strongest sled dogs. For a husky, being part of a dog sled team was a great honor. Paw wanted to be a part of the dog sled team more than anything in the world. But he was just a tiny dog, much smaller than the rest. Every day when the man who trained the Huskies came to harness up the sled team, Paw would run over to him. "Pick me," he would yip and yap in a very tiny bark. The man would bend over, ruffle Paw's ears, and say, "Sorry, little guy, only the biggest, fastest, and strongest dogs can pull my sled." Then Paw would shuffle to his doghouse, with his head hung low, curl up, and hide away. Alex stopped at the top of a steep hill. "No, Paw, this sled doesn't need a dog to pull it. This sled slides down hills all by itself." Then whoosh! Alex soared down the hill, leaving Paw in the spray of snow. Paw trudged home and slunk to his corner to hide away. It was evening when the dog sled team returned home. The man had just begun to unleash the dogs when his wife ran to him. Paw heard her say that Alex had not come home. "It's dark now and it's snowing very hard. Alex's footsteps are probably all filled in," she said. She was very worried that Alex was lost. "Don't worry, I'll find him," the man said as he quickly retied the dogs to the sled. Paw dashed over, barking, "I know where Alex is," he yapped, but the man pushed him aside. "Not now, Paw," he scolded. "I need the biggest, fastest, strongest dogs to help me." The man jumped on the back of the sled. "Mush," he commanded, and the team took off. Paw chased after them, barking and barking, trying to let them know they were heading in the wrong direction. But the sled quickly disappeared into the woods. "I must find Alex and bring him home," thought Paw. He ran across the field into the darkness. Wind whipped the snow all around. It was difficult to move and hard to see, but Paw plowed through. Paw stopped at the top of the hill. His keen ears picked up a whimpering voice. At once, Paw dashed down the hill, following the sound. When he got to the bottom of the hill, Paw found Alex lying a few feet from his sled. The boy had fallen off and hurt his leg. Alex was nearly covered with snow. Paw dragged Alex's sled to him and with difficulty helped Alex onto it. Paw grabbed the rope handle of the sled with his teeth and he started to tug. The brave little husky pulled and tugged and pushed, but the sled did not budge. Paw pulled harder. It did not move. Paw saw that Alex looked pale and his eyes were starting to close. The determined husky gave it one more shot with all the strength that he had. Slowly, the sled started to move. I can do it, Paw told himself. Paw pulled the sled inch by inch to the top of the hill. Paw was almost home when the man and his team of dogs came racing toward him. The man quickly jumped off his sled and ran to Alex. Then he turned to the dog. "Paw, did you find Alex and pull him all the way home by yourself?" The tired little husky wagged his tail wildly. Paw sat and waited, looking hopefully at the reins of the man's sled. After the man had settled Alex into his sled, he walked over to Paw, bent down, and ruffled his ear. "You saved my boy's life, Paw," the man said, "but only the biggest, fastest, and strongest dogs can pull my sled." Paw's heart sank, and his head hung low. The man continued, "And also the bravest, most determined dogs." He placed a harness over Paw's head. "My little Husky, you have earned your place on my dog sled team." Paw proudly joined the rest of the Husky team and helped pull the sled the rest of the way home. The end. Thank you so much for joining us today to hear this story. We hope that you enjoyed it and got to see a little bit about why Siberian Huskies love to play in the snow and how they make such great sled dogs. We hope that you tune in again next week. Thanks for joining us.